So let's go ahead and set up our Premiere. Open up Premiere. Let's go ahead and do new project as usual. So reminder, this is not an exercise. This is project 4 for a grade. So let's go project 4. We're going to name this like we've been naming it. Let me think. What is it? Monday, right? So let's do MPM underscore your first initial last name underscore P4. And oh yeah, add a spring 2024 because I have a lot of these, so this helps me make sure I don't lose these. So Monday PM for MPM underscore first initial last name, kind of like we've been doing. P4 for project 4 and spring 2024. And then do your project location, save it in your project 4 folder, right? Wherever you're doing that, right? In my case, it's going to go here. My spring 2024, and it's going to go into my project 4. And I have my folder for project files here. So I'm going to save it in there. Well, actually, let me go project files there. Okay. And then, yeah, we're going to go ahead and launch, right? Hang on, there you go. And then we'll do create. And you're in your project. So we're just going to need a pretty simple workspace here. We're just going to need the project panel. We're not even really going to need effects, but if it's up, it's great. Obviously, source. Effect controls, we might use that, but we don't necessarily need it. But keep that up. Program panel, your timeline, and definitely your audio meters, because audio is going to be an important part here. You don't need essential graphics or any of that. And of course, your tool palette. Okay. All right. Everything working okay so far? Okay, very good. So let's keep going. So let's go ahead and import. So let's go ahead and import those that folder or those files wherever you have them. If you have them in the folder where you already extracted them, you can just bring them in your folder, and you can open them up. And if you want to expand your column for your name, and you're going to see a number of clips. You're going to see 4 clips that say SOT. Those are what we call our SOTs. Hang on 1 second. Make sure you've got, you're going to have 4 SOTs, and then you're going to have, let me expand this all the way down so you can see all the clips you're going to need. So you should have all of these clips and a music track at the bottom. 4 SOTs, clips, and you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, what we call B-roll. So these are examples. These clips are examples of B-roll. The SOT are examples of A-roll. Okay, as I just mentioned. Do a save. So you've got that in there. I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got everybody okay on those clips? Anybody have any issues with those? Okay, so let's go ahead then. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up the script. Hang on a second, which I technically don't have pulled up yet. So let's open that up. Okay. All right, so this is the script. Some of you will probably just start doing this, which is fine, but I'm going to go ahead and lead you through it. But before you start, make sure you set up your settings correctly. So this says follow video tutorial instructions because I do have a a tutorial that I can post after next Monday. If anybody isn't able to finish in class, you can always go by that and finish it up. So we're going to mark in and out points on the following clips and place them in the timeline in sequential order as listed below on video track 1 and audio track 1. Okay, so very similar to project 1. So the first clip is, we're going to put them in this order, and then it's gonna look a certain way, and then it's going to look very differently. So first clip is Caleb Teacher, and this is your time code, right? And this is your out. So it's your in and your out, just like very similar to project 1. All right. So let's go here. So let's drop that clip in, and when we drop the first clip, that will of course figure out our settings, right? So we'll just let that figure out the settings, which was Caleb Teacher, right? And there's a couple, so don't get confused. Let me make the fonts a little bigger here. There's a Caleb Teacher and a Caleb Teacher 2. So we want just Caleb Teacher. And let's go ahead and just play that through for a second. These are roughly edited clips, and we're gonna clean them up. So this is a teacher.
They've done their, I don't think they did the edited decision list.
Do they still have to capture more B-roll, or they have enough?
Well, it's kind of hard for them to capture it, but they have many. But whatever they have, they've done it. I've seen it.
Do they need more?
Okay, so that's what that clip looks like. Hang on. Oh boy, I just clicked. I just messed up my. Hang on, let me reset workspace. Reset the saved layout. There we go. Oh, I didn't want this. Okay, so first clip. Let's go back to the. Hang on. No, I already know that. Let's go. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not the first shot. Is not Caleb Teacher. It's Caleb Teacher 2 shot. Okay. Let me make sure that's correct. Caleb Teacher. Hang on a second. Hang on. This is a slightly different. Hang on. I'm going to send you a different script. Although, actually, hang on a minute. It's not one. Caleb Teacher. Move. Okay. Yeah. This is a slightly different version of the script. But here, just follow me then. All right. The time codes are correct. That the name is slightly off. Okay, so you actually want this shot first. Okay, you want Caleb Teacher 2 shot. This one right here, Caleb Teacher 2 shot. Okay, I'll open that up. So if you drop the other one in, delete it. Okay, right? And this is a different shot. It's just kind of like where you see both of them in a 2 shot, right? So the other one came up from the hand and revealed Caleb, right? This one just kind of floats in on both of them. So your endpoint's going to be 206, right? So remember how we did that? Click, type in 206, enter. It goes to 206. Mark your endpoint or hit I on your keyboard. Okay, your out point's going to be 901. Just click that window again and just literally type 901. It goes to 901. Mark your out point or hit letter O. And now you've marked your clip. You can see the excess that you did need in the very beginning at the end. And this is about a 6.5 second clip. So just go ahead and grab that and drop it in your timeline, and it will determine your settings, and it will drop it in, and it looks pretty good. On the right, there's a little bit of black space. We're not going to worry about that. Okay, and you're going to hear your audio.
Get it with the voiceovers, which is 15.
Okay. So if you play that through, this is an example of B-roll. It's kind of, this is not a soundbite. This is just the ambient sound recorded as they're conversing.
All I want to do is like get it with the voiceovers, which is 15.
So 11 to 15.
15.
Okay. All right. Let me turn up my speakers a little bit. There we go. All right. So now that you've got that clip in, do a save so you can update that. Okay. And position your playhead at the end of the clip, right? You can try to manually do it, but as we remember, that's a little tricky. So use your up and down arrow keys, right? If I do page up, it goes back to the beginning. Page down, it puts the playhead right at the end of the clip. The exact same technique for the first part of this, by the way. So for the first part of this, you're using basically the same technique that you did on project one. Okay? So now we're going to rinse and repeat, just going to keep stringing together these shots. The next shot is the first SOT, which is Caleb. Caleb is the young man there with his teacher. This is shot a long time ago, probably around 2004. I shot all this and edited. This is what I used to do at the school system. Okay, so it's an example of shooting for the edit, which is kind of sort of rolled into this lesson. Okay, it's if you can shoot and edit, that is a huge advantage in this world. Okay, we can talk about that another time. All right, so next shot. Now we're going to the first SOT, which is right here, SOT1, Caleb. Right, and this is just him, you know, in an interview shot, in medium shot. If you play this through.
Right. As a freshman, when I came into high school, I knew how to do nothing. All I knew was like pick up a camera, go shoot something, and have fun with it. But soon, like in 9th grade, we got to.
Right, so we don't want all of that. That's just kind of like a rough clip, and we're going to extract a piece of that. Now, I don't write out what he says in the script, but we're just going to go by the time code. So, and you can see that all these clips start at 0 in terms of time code, and then the time code ends at whatever the duration of that clip is, right? So it doesn't even matter where you have your playhead. Just click on the time code window here and type in 115. If you want to do 0115, that's fine too, because it's remember, it reads from right to left. There it goes to 115. Mark your in point. And now mark your out point, which is at 8:02. Right? And I'm not jumping back to the script right now, but it is 8:02 on the out point, if you want to reference that, and mark your out point. Right? So you can see this is about a 6-second clip. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in so I can show the script here. Let's right. So this was our first shot, which was actually Caleb teacher 2 shot, SOT 1, 115, 8:02, right? And then when we go back, I'm going to show you another trick that you can do here. Now, once you mark that in and out, this should be a clean sentence, a clean phrase, a clean statement, not uhs and ohs and the part of another word. It should be very clean. So how you can check that is with this command right here, which plays the in and out. Okay. Let me know if you don't see that. You should see this. This should be default on your source monitor. Okay. And let's see, there it is. If I hover over it, it says play video in to out. I think we used this on project one, but project one didn't have people talking on camera. So when you click this, here's what you get.
As a freshman, when I came into high school, I knew how to do nothing. All I knew was like pick up a camera, go shoot something, and have fun with it.
So it gives you only what you marked in and what you marked out. Because if it keeps going, of course, he's going to keep talking if you just hit the play.
But soon.
See, so he breathes, he starts talking. So we're extracting a specific soundbite. Okay. And in the beginning, too, he's kind of like breaking up and,
As a freshman,
he goes, I or whatever, but you don't want all that. So you only want this.
As a freshman, when I came into high school, I knew how to do nothing. All I knew was like pick up a camera, go shoot something, and have fun with it.
Right. So it stops. So that's clean. That's an example of a clean soundbite. Okay. Now, sometimes you're editing very, professional speakers, politicians, people who are, very, very paced and tempered. But when you're interviewing just regular people who are not scripted or anything, then you have to deal with the reality that they're going to talk the way they're going to talk, and you're going to try to pull up that soundbite. So this is the meat and potatoes part, really, right? This is a critical skill set. And I do this every single day when I listen to, people talking, and I have to like lift some section of what they say, even though they blur certain words together and it's very tricky. I mean, we're talking frame accuracy here, right? All right, so let's go back. So let's drop that in. That's going to just drop in at the end of the last clip, right? We're stringing it together, right? So you want to have your playhead sitting at the end of the previous clip and just hit your insert button here. Let's see, I'm trying to see if I can get my little window. Anyway, just go ahead and click it. It'll drop in, and there it is, right? So it's going to come out of Caleb Teacher straight to Caleb.
15. As a freshman, when I came into high school, I knew how to do nothing.
All right, so there's your sound bite. Now we go to the end of
Shoot
this,
something and have fun with it.
right? So you could just let it play and stop there because it's going to sit right on the end of that clip, which is fine. So you could do that, right? If you want to just, play it, it will
School, I
stop.
knew how to do nothing. All I knew was like pick up a camera, go shoot something, and have fun with it.
So now it's queued up. Do another save. So save after every time you make an edit. All right. So now the next one is Caleb Teacher. It's this one. Yeah, Caleb Teacher Move. Right? This is actually the shot we were looking at before. Okay, and so this is on the script here. Right? Teacher Move. There it is. Shot one. This is actually that's actually this clip. Right? So it's 40, the in is 402, the out is 1018. Okay. All right. So we're going to Caleb Teacher Move, right? There it is. And remember, you're always going to see the name of the clip up here in the left-hand corner of your source panel. Okay. So the endpoint here is 402. Actually, yeah, there you go. 402. Actually, you don't even have to click in that window. Technically, you can see I'm just floating around over here. Let me reset this. I just, as long as you have your numeric function turned on your numeric keyboard, you can just type it in. 402, enter. Your playhead jumps to that, mark in. Your out is 1018. Click again, 1018, enter. Your playhead jumps to 1018. Mark the out, I'm sorry. So again, this is about another 6-second shot. Okay. So now when you play this is a little different shot. So you can do the same thing, play video in and out.
Do they still have to capture more B-roll, or they have enough?
Well, it's kind of hard for them to capture it, but they have many, but whatever they have, they've done.
So this is an example, and let's go ahead and just drop it in, right? So there it is, you're marked in and out, right? If you want to double check your endpoints, remember, go to in, cross-reference with your script, 402 is in, 1018, yep, that's what my script says, and there it is, boom, drop it in, and there you go. So it's getting longer because we're doing, we're just adding the clip, and now the playhead jumps to the next shot. Now let's come up here for a minute. So this is also an example of what we have A-roll and B-roll, but on this B-roll, we also have generally when you're dealing with B-roll, you have what we call natural sound. Okay, so natural sound is just the audio, the sound that you record when you're shooting this footage. But here we've got two people talking. If you were outside shooting, exteriors of a building, the White House, Supreme Court, or MC, you'd have the sound outside, cars, people walking by, birds. That's called natural sound. It's whatever you capture. But in this case, we also capture this woman, the teacher, sorry, very, very present at the very beginning of this clip.
Do they still have to capture more B-roll, or they have enough?
So we're going to use that right there where she says, did they capture enough B-roll, or do they have enough? And you can see her using the term B-roll, right? Because I'm not lying to you. That's actually we're going to use that as a natural sound break. Sometimes we call it a natural sound pop or a nat pop, right? People in the TV industry, we're very lazy. We like to shorten things. So that's going to actually break up some of our sound bites, but we're not going to deal with that right now. We're just going to lay it in. We're going to string this together. This is going to be a perfect example of a rough cut, right? This is our first part. Okay, so let's go back. So far we've got 3 clips in here, right? I'm going to hit my backslash to resize, and I've got 3 clips, and I'm going to hit my page down to jump to the end of the 3rd clip. And I'm just going to click away to release that so it's not selected. I should be right around at 20 seconds, right? As long as your first clip is right up at the very beginning, you've got 3 clips. If you go to the end of that, the end of the third clip, you should be at 20 seconds. So there's a quick reference for your timing, okay? Now let's go ahead and go to the next shot. Now we go to Caleb Sot 2, okay? So now we're going to Caleb Sot, it just says Sot 2 here, right? And the in point here is 123, the out is 1517. So that's a pretty long sound bite. That's going to be close to 14 seconds. Okay, so we go to Sot number 2. Okay, where are we? There we go. Go in here. Sot number 2, there it is. Sot 2 Caleb, right? So you can see that the whole thing raw or unedited is 18 seconds. So we're going to snip about 4 seconds off and keep the rest. So Sot 2 is at 123, right? Again, if you want to do this, you can scroll and go to 123, but that's not fun, right? So I'm going to type in 123, enter, boom. Playhead jumps to that, mark it. Out is 14, I'm sorry, out is 15, 17. Enter. Playhead jumps, so that, yeah, fairly long soundbite, mark the out. Right, so to reiterate, the endpoint here is 123, 1 second, 23 frames. The out is 15 seconds, 17 frames. And you can see the duration is, yeah, close to 14 seconds over here on the right. Right? So go ahead and insert it. There it is. I'm getting my little white window there. Drop it in, and there it goes. It goes behind the last clip. And your playhead repositions, and now you're almost at 34 seconds. Right? I'm going to hit my backslash so I can resize my timeline and see all my clips. All right. Do a save. So now you're at about 33 seconds. And let's hear this soundbite for a minute. So I'm going to play it right here, play video in to out in the source panel.
As the years went on, I got to come in the studio, use some of the TV stuff we have. We got to use the digital cameras. We actually got to use mixers, audio boards, and stuff like that. And that actually deepened my interest in television. And then it just kept on building.
So obviously, in case you haven't figured it out, this is a student who was in a television program. This was Blake High School. And he was a, one of the high, doing, pretty advanced, doing some good stuff. And we profiled him for one of our stories. This is the type of stories I used to do at the school system, promoting academic excellence. And so we'd highlight all kinds of different students in different departments, different schools doing, just doing great. So anyway, let's go back and continue with our script. So that was shot number 2. The next shot is Caleb Helps. Okay. And actually, this should say Caleb Helps Girls. Yes, Caleb Helps Girls, but the time code's right. So let's go to the correct clip. Yes, hang on a second here. Caleb Helps, where is it? Where is it? Caleb Helps Girls right here. Caleb Helps Girls. And you can see, of course, you've got pink and green, which means it's got audio and video. And so this is sort of what we call an over-the-shoulder shot. And he's working with some classmates, colleagues, and he's showing them how to do something. And they're actually looking, believe it or not, they're working with Premiere 6.0 here. So this is an old version of Premiere. And so he's talking to them, and we're just kind of showing him working with them. And so this is a little camera move in. Right, so we're going to take advantage of that, and we're going to come in at 114. Right, mark that in, and your out is going to be 11:10. Okay, mark that out. So it's about a 10-second shot, and if you play that through, the camera just kind of float in, and he's there showing them something.
It's in title format, but title can do anything you want. Just go to new.
right? And then it's out. So we're going to drop that in, do an insert after SOT number 2 in your timeline, right? Remember to always have your playhead repositioned at the end of the previous clip. Boom, there it is. Now that puts us at about 43 and 17 frames. Okay. Right. So good to keep tabs on the duration. Okay. And save again. And now we're going down to Caleb SOT 3. Caleb SOT 3. Caleb SOT 3. There it is. SOT 3, Caleb, slightly different naming here. Open that up, and there he is. More of the interview. And you can see this raw is 34 seconds. So this is pretty long. Okay. So now we want to come in at this is even longer side. So the endpoint here is this is Caleb SOT 3 right here. Your endpoint is 623. The out is 3106. Okay. So let's go back in and add this last. This is second to last SOT. Okay. So now your endpoint is going to be 623. Mark in. Your out point is going to be 3106. Out. Mark that out. And so let's listen to him. So this is about a 24-second soundbite, which is pretty long. Let's play the in-out video so we can hear what he says.
In today's world, I mean, technology has expanded exponentially, and there's a lot of things you can do right now. You know, during the old days, you had to go home, watch TV to know what the news is about, go and read the newspaper. You know, but you know, in the near future, people are going to have news on their telephones. Well, they already do. You know, video iPods. You know, cell phone news. Pretty much everything's going to be on the internet.
All right, so before you start chuckling, remember this was back around 2004, so obviously this has all happened. So double checking your endpoint 623, your out point is 3106. We'll go ahead and drop it in the timeline with the insert button. If you want, you can also grab it and paste it, but it's just easier to do this because it's very accurate and you only have to do one click. Boom. There it is. It drops, right? Repositions the playhead. I'm going to hit my backspace and save. And now if I'm at the end of that SOT 3, we should be at about 108. 108. Okay. Right. And now, so up until now on this project, I've done all the finding, right? The script has already done that work. So this would be an example where, say, a producer or somebody has already given you a script and you don't really have to think. You just have to mark those in and outs, drop them in. But now on this next SOT, which is SOT 4, you're going to have to actually use your ear and find the soundbite. So I didn't give you time code on this because this is really the skill right here. Okay. This is what you need to be able to do because a lot of times somebody's going to say they're going to give you maybe a rough time code on something. So during the day, you know, the president's talking or somebody's talking, some politician or whatever, and my producer might say, you know, he said this around, you know, 1:15. And so hopefully they're pretty close and I find what he says, but I have to mark the in and out. I figure out exactly what frame. It could be 1:14. And if they watched it off TV, then I have to do the math because if they're watching it off, for example, something like MSNBC, there's a lag, there's a delay. And so I might have to go back as much as 15, 20, maybe even 30 seconds to find what they thought they heard at 1:15. It was actually at like 1:14:30, you know, that kind of thing. I'm sorry, like, you know, yeah, much earlier. Anyway, so now here's the best way to do this. Luckily everybody's in their own place. So like we're in the lab, everybody has to have headphones on. Let's go ahead and pull up SOT 4. Okay. Right? And you can see what I want you to find. Let's go back to the script for a minute. So this is what we're looking for. We're looking for him to say this. what I do is a team effort, and I want all of us to come out on top at the same time. What I do is a team effort, and I want all of us to come out on top at the same time. Okay, so that's your soundbite. Okay, now let's play this all the way through raw. It's about 14 seconds. That's a pretty short soundbite. That's maybe 4 seconds, 5 seconds. And so, but it's buried in here somewhere. So let's just play it for a minute. Okay.
See with me. I just don't want to be the one on the spotlight every time, and you know, it's a team effort. What I do is a team effort, and I want all of us to come out on top at the same time, and I want other people to learn from what I.
Right. So you can see it's somewhere in the middle there. And he also says, it's a team effort, which kind of fakes you out, but you really want the next one when he says, what I do is a team effort. So here's the technique. Now, as you do this more and more, right, you get pretty good at it. This is where you can use your arrow keys. You can also use your JKLs. But if you know that he says it right around, you don't have to like guess while it's playing in real time, right? So you can go back here and hit play for a minute.
The spotlight every time, and you know, it's a team effort.
So you know that after he says it's a team effort, it's coming up. Now you can also do this. You can hold down the arrow key. Okay. Everybody remember the arrow keys, right? The left, right, and the up, down. So you got page up, page down. You have end, home. Mine says end, home, arrow keys. Let me pull these up for a minute. Hang on. I want to make sure everybody knows what I'm talking about, because this is you don't have to play this in real time, right? You can also pull this up like this. All right, so here's the PC keyboard, and I'll also open up the Apple keyboard. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump. Hang on, I got a lot of windows open now. Okay, all right, so let's go. Let me show you first on the PC keyboard, right? So again, this is just an example of my keyboard. These are the arrow keys down here in sort of lower right, right? Page up, page down, page arrow key to the right, arrow key to the left. These also happen to be home and end keys, right? And on the Mac, of course, similar positions, previous edit, next edit, one frame right, same thing on both, right? This is the ones I was using, these going up and down to mark those cuts. Now we're going to go forward a frame at a time, but you can also do this. So if you know that he's saying this right around here, you can actually hold down your arrow key, okay? The right arrow key, and just keep it holding down, and it will play in slow motion, and it will scrub, okay?
It's a team effort. What I do is a team effort. And
you can see how you can slow him down. Here's about to say what. So you key in on the first word or the first couple words, what I do. Right? And so you would mark it right in there, right? You could also just mark it, and you can always change it. So you can guess and then play it.
What I do is the team.
Not bad. Not bad. Maybe jump back, go back a frame, because we maybe sort of ate part of that W, and then I went back a couple frames and then marked the end. Now, before you drop this in the timeline, I'm going to show you an even easier way. I'm just trying to give you some of these techniques. So here you can go.
What I do is the team effort.
There you go. That was a much cleaner what I do is a team effort.
What I do is the team effort, and I want all of us to come out on top at the same time.
Now, you've got a nice pause there after he says at the same time. But if you hold on too long, he's going to start saying the next word, and you don't want to hear that. Okay? Here's another way. Okay? Right? So you could mark that out, mark that in. Again, so I showed you using those arrow keys to kind of like narrow it down. You don't have to hit play and then like stop it, as we say, on the fly. Okay? You can slow it down. You can scrub through it. You could scrub through like this. Okay? You can just hold your mouse down.
It's a team effort. What I
See, so I know I can just kind of like pause it right there and find it. Now, the other thing you can also do here is click right here on this audio. Okay, let me go back. It looks like you're going to grab it. It says drag audio only. So your pointer turns into a mouse, but this is your video. This is your audio. But when you click on that audio, it only shows you the audio. Okay, so I'm gonna expand this window a little bit. This is another way that you can see what's happening. So I'm gonna actually clear this endpoint, right? And you can also these little slider bars here, these little rings. You can magnify in here and you can demagnify. So if I pull them all the way to the edges, then I'm seeing the entire clip, right? So we're not really concerned with his face right now. There's no weird edit here. We're actually just listening to the audio, right? So this is a way where you can zero in completely on the audio. You can not only hear it, but you can see the audio, which makes it a lot easier. Okay. Remember, this is how you pay the rent. Okay. You want to put groceries on the table? You got to know how to do this. All right. So let me play it through.
see with me. I just don't want to be the one on the spotlight every time, and it's a team effort. What I do is a team effort, and I want all of us to come out on top at the same time, and I want other people to learn from what I.
Okay, so now what I like about this is that you can see these big gaps, and you can see where he pauses and then starts again. Where sometimes if you just listen to it, it just sounds like a split second, which it is, but you're getting several frames, which is plenty of time to mark it in and out, right? So you can see here as you can do the same thing. You can scrub through. You can even grab it right here,
Spotlight, and it's a team effort.
and you can see right here. This is the W, right?
What I do is a team effort.
What I do is a team effort.
What I do is
So you could park it there and then drag these rings in, and you're magnifying that little section. So all of a sudden, that section is huge, it's really only about several frames. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 frames before he starts talking. But now you have this huge valley where you can make sure that you don't cut off his W. Maybe go right about here, right? Mark that in. You can hit play.
What I do is a team.
That was clean. You don't want to cut him off, and then you can re-extend this out, right? You can still see your endpoint. Your endpoint is right here. It kind of gives you this little shading. So this is the beginning of your soundbite, okay? You can even slide this over, expand this, and now listen to your endpoint. So that's how I found that endpoint without having to only listen to it. I had the opportunity to actually look at it. So now we've got what I do as a team effort.
What I do is a team effort, and I want all of us to come out on top at the same time.
So,
and I want other people.
So at the same time was right here, right? I'm extending this. Let's go back.
On top at the same time. On top at the same time.
See, I'm scrubbing through it.
And I want all of us to come out on top at the same time.
At the same time. And then this is where he's going to start talking again. So you want to avoid that. So I'm going to go maybe another frame. Let him finish that syllable. And if you got a few frames, give him a frame or two after that, so you're not cutting him off. And then I'm going to mark my out. So now that in and out is marked. And when I go back to video, it's still there. And now drop it in. If you want to check it, then go back and play video in and out. You could still do that here as well, right? So make sure you got it clean. So I'm going to play play it in and out.
What I do is a team effort, and I want all of us to come out on top at the same time.
So you hear him start, you hear him end. You don't hear the last word before he starts. You don't hear the next word after he ends. So that's a clean soundbite, okay? And the time code happens to be whatever it is, right? So now go ahead and drop it in. Right, and that's a much shorter shot. So it's going to come at this. So you've got 2 sound bites back to back, right? And so technically what you've done here is this is actually an example of a jump cut, but we're going to fix that, right? So you can see how he's talking, and because we cut another sound bite back to back on it, his head's not in the same position. So that's actually known as a jump cut. Now, these days, Sometimes they do that intentionally because it's become sort of a stylistic thing, but traditionally that was a no-no. That was a bad edit. You had to cover up that jump cut, right? His head sort of shifts because it's a different point in time and he's saying two different things. We're going to clean that up later, so don't worry about that. So now let's go back in and save.
Hey, Professor,
Yes.
what if our in point is like a little different, like a couple of seconds different from the in point you put in, but it still like gets only the phrase we wanted?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you've got a few frames there to play with. Yeah. You remember you're talking frames here because a second or two would be like way off. But yes,
Okay, I
you're,
guess that's what I meant, a couple
yeah,
frames.
yeah. Because you can see like right here, if I magnify this little section here, there's
Mm.
about 6 or 7 frames. So you could be a little closer to that. You could be a little back. Yeah, that's not wrong. As long as you have a clean, as long as you have a clean in point and you have a clean out. You don't cut off what he says. You don't cut off what he says in the beginning or at the end. And you also don't get like, you don't get like a piece of what he just said, which is sometimes very difficult. Okay. So
Okay.
you know, everybody speaks differently. Okay. So, and when we would do these interviews at school system, most of these people were not used to being in front of the camera. We'd interview teachers, we'd interview counselors, you name it, all kinds of people. Yeah, sometimes you would interview administrative folks, and so they were a little bit more practiced because they had to give speeches and stuff, and politicians are generally, you know, but these days, when they just come up and talk and you grab them in the hallway and they're running down the street, or what we call MOS, man on the street, which is just when you interview people like at a rally, for example, or out in the street about something like the economy, they're going to speak the way they speak. So as an editor, you've just got to adapt to the fact that everything's going to sound different, right? So that was a fairly not too hard example, okay? But I wanted to make sure that you understood, that you really want to be pretty accurate there. So yeah, that's all good. So now if we go to the end of this SOT, which is SOT number 4, we should be at about 1 minute, 13 seconds. Okay. I'm going to resize these panels a little bit. And now we're going to do the last clip that is on that first page. I'm going to resize my timeline with the backspace, and I'm going to go to page down so I can position my playhead for the next shot. And that last shot is group walk long. I should have said group long walk. And it's just these kids, Caleb and some of his colleagues from class walking down the hallway. All right. Let me just highlight that in the script so everybody knows where that is. Right. So yeah, this is the oh, it looks like I did it differently here. Yeah. Okay. So you know what? My bad. This should actually be behind this. So you should have SOT 3, because I realize the script is a little different. SOT 3 and SOT 4 should be back to back. So group walk should be after SOT 4. If by any chance you put group 4 in between these, I won't blame you, but you can just move that. Okay. Right. So if you had group walk between SOT 3 and 4, let's just say hypothetically, I'm just going to do sort of a pretend edit here. Just going to drop in a little. Yeah. So let's say this is group walk and you have it all right. There's group walk, and then you SOT 4. Just grab it and pull it out of there and slide it over, and then you could do a ripple delete. So you want SOT 3 going to SOT 4, and then we're going to do group 4. All right, so I'm going to start over on group 4. I'm not sorry, not group 4, group walk long. Okay. I'm going to reposition my playhead. I'm still at 1 minute and 13 seconds. Okay. All right. So now on this, we're coming in on 17 seconds and 23 frames, and we're getting out at 33 seconds even. So that's about 15, almost 16 seconds. Right. All right. So let's pull out of there. So we're going to tack that on to the end after SOT 4. There they are. And you can see I already put my endpoints in. I can just reset that, so that's no big deal. So in point is 10:15, right? Mark the in. And the out point is 27, which is pretty much almost the end of the clip. And they're walking through the door and going up the steps. So it's literally like the end of the clip, right? Mark out, boom. Okay, so in point 10:15, out point 27 even. It's about a 16 second clip. Right. There you go. And then just go ahead and insert that, tack that on to the end of the last SOT. Okay. And let's see what we got here. So this rough cut edit, I'm showing up at about 129.13. If you position your playhead at the very end of the last shot, right? And remember, you want to make sure that this first clip is right up against the beginning. I'm magnifying. Yep, yeah, you're good. Because if you're sitting away from that, then that's going to tack on some time. Okay. All right. So you should be at 129. Again, give or take a few frames. It's not the end of the world. You want to be hopefully within 5 frames. As long as your SOTs are tight, right? You can, we can mess around with the B-roll. Okay. We can tweak the B-roll, but your SOTs should be really tight. You shouldn't be off. You don't want to be off by like half a second because a lot of them, then you're going to start picking up, the previous comment or the next one or, like, or, who knows, a breath that you don't want. Okay. So, I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes to just kind of make sure they're there because I want my goal is to have everybody at least at this point, okay? And then we're gonna do a couple more things to this because this is gonna look a lot different when we're done with it, okay? In fact, it's gonna start looking different in a couple of minutes. So I'm gonna give everybody a couple minutes, barely 5, all right? So make sure you're at this point, right? So you should have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clips, right? 4 of them are SOTs. There's my SOTs. And 4 of them are B-roll. Yeah. Okay. And then all of these other shots, this other B-roll is going to also start filling in. For example, this long soundbite. Okay. Part of the purpose of B-roll is that you don't just leave Caleb up there talking the whole time. Yeah, he's a great guy, interesting guy, but we don't need to hear him for, 20 seconds or however long he talks. We'll show him and then we'll cover up the video part with what he's talking about. That's what B-roll does. And so think of like a news piece, like a documentary. If you watch something and you're just looking at a talking head, that's not that fascinating. You want to hear what they're talking about. You want to see what they're talking about. That's storytelling. That's editing. Okay. So I'll leave this up as a reference real quick. Okay. So you can see that your runtime here, right? What we would call right now the TRT, the total runtime, should be about 129 and somewhere around, 10, 13 frames right in there. You're a couple frames longer, 2910, 2909, 2908 even probably isn't a big deal as long as your SOTs are clean. All right, so I'm going to save. I'll be right back. And um, just unmuted. Are there any questions before I just walk away for a minute? Is this making sense to everybody? Okay.
Yeah.
Good, good. I mean, it's not that different than what we did on Project One, but now you're dealing with real editorial content, right? Because so this is I should emphasize this is first person narrative, right? We don't have a reporter here. We don't have this disembodied voice saying, "Oh, so here's Caleb, and he's a student at Blake, and blah blah blah," and then you hear him talk. No, he's basically the narration. This is how I used to do a lot of pieces, right? So this is a first person narrative narration. Some people would call it like in their own words. So there's no other editorial audio track like a reporter, right? Or a narrator. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. Oh, okay. So there's a question. Yeah, let me see about the last clip. Oh, yes. Okay, so good question here. Sasha's bringing this up, and this is a good question. Yes, I gave you a different time code on this group walk. So, sure, you know what? Let's go ahead and use that time code. So I'm going to use that time code because I gave you a different time code on that. Okay, so let's go back into the clip. What did it say? 1723, right? 1723:33. Okay.
Yes, but the total group walk clip, the original untouched clip, is too short for the out.
Oh, it is. Okay. Oh, great point. Then do what I then just follow my time code. So let's go back. Okay. All right. Yeah, because I've converted these clips a couple times, so maybe that was an older script. So here's a so if you put your group walk already long back here, you can just delete it. The easiest thing is just delete it. Just clip on it and just click on it and delete it. Right? It's your last clip, so that's easy. And then reposition your playhead at the end of SOT 4, right? Page down, right? Or again, just go ahead and play it. If you're in the middle of that clip, just hit play
Come out on top at
and
the
it
same
will
time.
park itself at the end of that clip. Okay? Right? So now let's go and set your time code at 10:15 on the group walk long. 10:15 will be your in point. And your out point will be 27 even. Right? So everybody got that. I will well, once we get through this, you're not have to worry about the script anymore, really, because we're gonna just kind of like I'll be leading you. All right. So I want to make sure everybody gets that. 10:15 is the in point on the group walk long, and 27 even is the out. And when you drop that in, that should give you, if you've done everything else based on what I've been leading you to do, then you should be right around 129 minute, 29 seconds, and about 13 frames. Okay, thank you for pointing that out, Sasha.
No problem.
All right, always good to clarify so everybody's on the same page. Everybody okay on that? Radio silence. Okay. Don't worry, you're going to get out of here in plenty of time to watch the NCAA game tonight. It doesn't even start till like 9:20. Okay.
But Professor,
Yes.
you said you were going to show us the rest of the second projects.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. We're going to do a couple more things here, and then we're going to jump on that. Okay. I have not forgotten. Okay. So here, let's go to now. Let's do the next phase of this, and here you might want to push up on your timeline. Make that area a little bigger. And let's see. Let's push up. You see where you have your video and audio tracks? Position your mouse in between that, push, click, and then push up. So you get a little bit more real estate on your audio. Okay? All right. So now we're going to do this. And this is, let's see. Let me see what I want to make sure the script is also telling you to do the same thing. Let's look at the script. Okay. All right. Well, let's do some of the basic stuffs here. Well, we kind of just did this. Well, we haven't quite adjusted the height of the audio tracks. But let's add a 5-second countdown to the beginning of this, just like you did on project 1, right? So let's pull up that countdown, or let's create it, right? Right. So I'm gonna fold up my folder here, and you can see your sequence, right? It's probably gonna say Caleb Teacher 2-shot because that was the first shot you put in there. I would just rename that. Just click on that and call it, project 4. With your name. And then you can always rename that when you export it, of course, but now you have that sequence named at least in a more identifiable way. And what was I just saying? Oh yeah, color bars, right? So you could go here, new item, or you could right click in that area, whatever you want to do, new item, and we're gonna do did I say color bars or did I say a countdown? I think I said a countdown. Yeah, we don't really need color bars. Let's see. Yeah, countdown. All right. Let's just do countdown. Do a 5-second countdown. Jump back into the wrong screen here. Okay. All right. So right click, new item, universal countdown, right? You can see that these are our settings, 720 by 480, right? And this is actually 24 frames a second. Okay. So just hit OK. Just deselect these little blips. If you want to color it all up, that's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. Just hit OK if you want, right? And then drag it into your source. And like we did before, just position it at the 5, right? Just position it so you have 5 up there. And that time code is actually 6 seconds, right? Mark it. Boom. And then put your playhead at the very beginning. Position that at the very beginning. So your time code over here should say 0, playhead position, and insert it, right? Boom. And now when you play that back, it will count down to 2, and it will actually give you 2 seconds of black. 1, 2, boom,
All
and
I
your
wanna
video
do is,
starts.
like, get it with the voiceovers, which
Okay. So now if you count that in and you go to the very end, now you're going to be at 134, right? 13, because we were 129. Now it's 5 more seconds. Okay. All right. So that was pretty easy enough, right? We've done that before. Now let's go forward and at least get through this next point. So now we're going to adjust, increase the height of the audio tracks. And that's why I repositioned that sort of video and audio, those tracks that give us a little bit room at the bottom of the screen for those audio tracks. Okay. And then we're going to do this, drag the audio clip, drag the audio for each B-roll clip. Right, let's do this one first. Let's adjust the heights. Okay. Right. So what I did here is I pushed up a little bit here and I just kind of dragged down a little bit on these rings for audio. Right. We're not going to have 2 layers of audio of video here, so we can make more room. There you go. Right. And I'm just kind of like sliding these rings so I can have taller tracks. If you want, you can also grab here and adjust them. Okay. So we're kind of emphasizing the audio right now. Okay. So you adjust those heights and then we come back and now we're going to do this. Here's what we're going to do. And watch me first because these are linked and I'll talk about that a little bit more next week, but we're going to now drag the audio. This is not letting me highlight. Okay. We're going to drag the audio for each B-roll clip down to audio track 2, A2, whatever, 2. Okay. And then we'll save. Okay. Right. So not the SOTs. So for example, our first clap, and here you want to magnify a little bit, right? Click on it and magnify. And all you're going to do is you're going to grab, you notice when you click on one of these clips, both of them light up, right? Just like project 1. That means they are linked. Okay. Just because, so linking is one thing, and then being synced is another thing. The sync really only matters more with the sound bites. We're going to explore that next week because we're going to start separating the video from the audio and adjusting the endpoint for the video, which is going to be different than the audio. And you can run into the possibility of unsyncing your audio. And it starts looking like one of those low budget 1970s martial arts movies, right? You don't want that. Anyway, but we're not doing that. We're not going that far right now. So you're going to go over here, Caleb Teacher 2. You're literally just grab that audio and just pull it straight down. It's going to let you. Okay. and then let go. You don't want to like go left or right. Just pull it straight down. If you accidentally do something like this, like you slide it over, then just do a Control Z or Command Z, right? And just grab your audio. It's going to both lit up, and just grab it and just pull it straight down. You get that, you see that little sort of icon that you get off your mouse, and drop it. It's not gonna change your audio. It's just gonna position it on track 2. Okay? Then go to, you can use your little slider here. Go to your next B-roll, which is Caleb Teacher Move. If you want to magnify it some more, you can. Click on that audio and drag it down, just straight down. And you'll know if you're not, because when you pull it down, you see that little white window that comes up? It says 0000. That means you haven't moved it left or right, right? So if it's all 00, you brought it straight down. If you start moving it left or right, it's going to change those numbers. Okay? So Caleb Teacher Move. There's SOT 2. Now here's Caleb with the girls. Magnify that a little bit and just pull that down. Okay? And then the last one we're going to do that to is the group walk long. Okay? And pull that down. So now you can see it's starting to look a little different. Okay? So the reason we did that, and I'll leave it at that, is that when we come back next week, we're going to start cutting into some of this B-roll. Right? So we're going to open up with this shot, and we're going to have this audio up, and then we're going to drop this audio with keyframes, like I showed you last week when we were working with music, just transitioning from one song to another. We're going to add keyframes and drop that audio, and then we're going to slide over the SOT. We're going to literally slide it over, and we're going to start hearing Caleb talk, but we're going to keep seeing the teacher with him talking. Don't do what I just did. I'm just kind of like giving you a very basic reference. So this shot will continue, and then we will reveal him talking. But we also want to keep that audio down as long as we see this shot up. But we also want to hear him talking. So we have to balance these 2 levels. So we'll drop the audio from the natural sound, from the B-roll, and we'll keep Caleb up strong. Anyway, so I'm going to put that back. So that's why we had to reposition those tracks, because they're going to be up at the same time simultaneously. We have to adjust those levels, right? So there's definitely going to be some more audio involved in this project, balancing, mixing it. And that's why you want to have these meters open over here so you can see everything. All right. So that, again, did not change the duration of anything. It's still 134.13. Okay. So leave it at that. Save. Okay.